Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to no doubt one of the craziest weekends of Call of Duty that we have ever seen. Los Angeles Guerrillas walk away with the trophy. Their rivalry with LA Thieves the last year or so has been very interesting. Los Angeles Guerrillas never lost to LA Thieves and now they have the tournament victory as well. Given the fact that SlasheR and Huke were on LA Thieves last season, what does it mean for that squad? A change is surely necessary and SlasheR definitely getting his words in on the matter. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you were new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Firstly, we've got to discuss this because yesterday we talked about the Pro-Am, the 4 teams that are going to go to the Pro-Am right at the start of May, but also, of course, both Ultra teams I believe were top 3, and one of them won it, one came top 3, so incredible performance from both the Ultra Academies, the North American one and the European one, and Adam Adamu over at Toronto says, how is this not the biggest story of the week? The return to LAN for Challengers, so much fun to watch. We are going to be hosting a massive LAN tourney as well for Challengers at Toronto's Major 3. So really cool. Like, I thought it was great to have that alongside the main event this weekend. Would be even cooler if they could have the final on the main stage right in Toronto. Hopefully they go down that route. But yeah, that's certainly going to happen. There's going to be another Challengers Open alongside the Toronto event in, well, a couple of months or so's time. We'll look at the schedule for the rest of the year in a few minutes here, because we are now technically in a mid-season break, which, I was kind of always predicting that this might be the time that teams decide to make roster moves. We shall see what happened on that front over the coming days. This just to mention quickly for the Pro-Am though, because I believe the idea was that the Pro-Am was going to be a LAN event, but it hasn't yet been confirmed. I believe they've said it's a LAN, but whether that actually happens, I don't know, because there's been no venue confirmed yet or anything. I really hope they don't actually do it online, because the fact that you're going to have European teams playing from Europe online against NA Pro teams is just going to be an absolute disaster. Surely they can do it on LAN. Not really sure where this kind of discussion here between Denzer and Dave comes from. Hopefully that's not the case, but I wouldn't put it past the CDL to do this, to be honest, but hopefully they get that figured out relatively soon. This also, we didn't get time to mention this of yet, this humongous ratio that hits the timeline, but Rokkr come out with this, stared at the Boston Reach logo too long, what does the X stand for? And Boston are taking no for an answer in the reply. It's actually the Roman numeral for 10, but you guys wouldn't know that, since you're only top 12. Pretty tough stuff at their own event, no doubt, but an absolutely absurd event from start to finish. Let's talk then about potential roster changes, because Clayster's tried to make something happen, tag the teams that get knocked out in case they need to make this oval. Thank you very much. So who knows, Clay might get a spot at some point or another. Going to be difficult to get a spot though right now the way the league is going, because a lot of the more traditional maniars in this game have struggled so far until, in fairness, SlasheR this weekend certainly turned a corner on that one. Method as well has been playing lights out, so definitely still possible for these guys to turn it around, but just difficult to find teams that might need a guy like Clayster. But certainly in terms of the maniar position, seems like Los Angeles Thieves could be a target to make some sort of move relatively soon. This of course was the grand finals, right? They went on to win the Berlin Search and Destroy as well, a 5-2 in favour of LAG. Just so ridiculous to even look at this, the map streak that they went on in the middle here. When FaZe won map 1, if you'd have told me that Los Angeles Guerrillas were going to win the next 4 maps and take the series, would have been absolutely mind blown. But of course, on the other side of Los Angeles, the Los Angeles Thieves, they only came in for the Cold War season. They didn't really exist before that. It was kind of OGLA. That spot got bought out, changed around, all this type of stuff. But still, no doubt about it. Optic made the comeback. They reverse swept Thieves a couple of days ago, and Thieves results at the stage 1 major, they came top 6, reverse swept by FaZe for the loss. Then they come top 8 this major, getting reverse swept by Optic for the loss. Difficult time. Of course, when you look at those series, at least if you looked at those series a couple of days ago, you say, okay, well, they lost to number 1, number 2 teams. That might still be the case in terms of rankings, but the way this tournament went definitely puts LA Thieves in significantly worse light than they were in before, because now their placings aren't good, but also their rivals just across the ponds, the Huke and SlasheR, they had those players last year, they let them go to LHE, now win the event. Now you've got even more questions about Thieves, what they're doing with their roster, who's making the decisions over there, and what they decide to do as time progresses as well. Because as Nadeshot says after that series, not much else to say. It was a tough one to watch. We shall be back. Now, does this mean we'll be back with the same roster though? That is very much another question mark. And as SlasheR says, right, he definitely makes his thoughts known to the guys on LA Thieves. He was coming into the season with a point to prove. They decided to get rid of him, preferred Octane over SlasheR, right? Kenny and SlasheR decided to go their separate ways, and now SlasheR's the one with the success. Really interesting to think about, isn't it, right? The Los Angeles Thieves, they've had Kenny, they've stuck with him for quite some time. Kenny and SlasheR the last few years, since the Black Ops 4 days, didn't have any success alongside each other. This is a fantastic Twitter account name, by the way, but still, they had no success pretty much the last few years. SlasheR leaves, and now it's winning an event, right? So it's kind of crazy how this works out. I guess he doesn't leave, he gets kicked, right? But still remarkable. Of course, Huke was there as well. They paid an absolute bag for Huke, and still they let him go to Los Angeles Guerrillas, and they had a point to prove that. Of course, they didn't play each other this weekend. They played each other in the league though, I think last week, and LAG won that again. The 4th time they've won in the history of the two franchises playing each other. SlasheR also said this a few days ago, had someone tell me I fell off. Ooh, I needed that one. So fantastic tweet, really. He's been on fire the last few days, no doubt about it. This also on the 25th of March, right, when they did beat Los Angeles Thieves in the Pro League, that, basically just taking the mick out of JCat, because last year he said that JCat was just kind of throwing it a dartboard to determine, what their roster moves were going to be, saying that these guys are completely clueless with their decision making. And, this seems to have been vindicated to some degree over the past few days when SlasheR and co actually go on to win the event. So absolutely remarkable stuff. Of course, Huke on the other side of the coin as well, winning Major 2. Just, great to see him turn up in the grand finals. Had a phenomenal performance. And yeah, Huke and SlasheR back on top after being together briefly on Los Angeles Thieves last year to no success at all. All the changes they made, like this was briefly a roster into stage 4, but before this, after this, there were other changes that went down. LA Thieves could never get it going, and at the end of the year, they get rid of SlasheR, they get rid of Huke. Those two, of course, both go over to Los Angeles Guerrillas, and now they've won an event, and the new Los Angeles Thieves team, that to be honest, I'm pretty sure going into the season, I said that I probably preferred the LA Guerrillas roster, thought that had more potential. I did not think it had more potential without Gunless there in Spart instead, but that is what it is, I guess, than the Los Angeles Thieves team. But it turns out the fortunes of these two squads, at least as of late, have differed absolutely dramatically, right? Thieves fallen off a cliff in terms of their results in their placings, and Los Angeles Guerrillas winning an entire event. So I'll share a clip from the flag from a couple of days ago where they're talking about LA Thieves, what the roster has to do. Seems like a change is going to be necessary to this squad, at least Parasites, and they seem to agree. Maybe it is time for Kenny and Octane to split up, but maybe questions going to be raised about Kenny, given the idea that SlasheR's just won this tournament and their duo hasn't worked out the last couple of years. And of course, there's also questions maybe going to be raised about Jacob and Modog once again, the decision making with this roster.
Honestly, man, just talking about the Thieves, I get it. They went last map with Optic, and they definitely looked better than they did online. But, like, bro, this is 2 series in a row versus this same team. And I know, like, they consider themselves, a championship caliber team just by, their roster. They got to do something. And a role swap, I don't think is going to fix it, man. And I know, like, they're pretty adamant about keeping the same team. But, yeah, the maps are close, but they're getting outslayed by 3 million. Like, you got to expect that at some point, them getting outplayed by 3 million and barely, clutching up maps isn't gonna fly in this league.
Listen, I'm just gonna say it, bro. I think this roster has the same issue, not for the same reasons, but just the same issue that New York had. Ken and Sam, one of them gotta go. They can't be on the same team.
I mean, it's weird because, bro, you watch them play and it's like, well, they could have won the series and they could have done a lot of things differently to win the series, but they don't. They just make a lot of just like boneheaded plays and boneheaded mistakes, which honestly, from a team like LA Thieves and the roster they had, I didn't expect them to be that type of team to be making mistakes like that.
You also look at the stats, and they are getting outslayed by 30 million, bro.
I personally think that's the main thing. I think they're just not keeping up. I think
it was a record, 77 outslays.
So this is a crazy stat, actually. The difference between the last time SlasheR won a title, which was with Kenny and Octane back on 100 Thieves. This is Anaheim 2019. Priestahh and Enable rounded out the squad with Crowder and Coach. And of course, the most recent time with a completely different team, SlasheR still gets the job done. Cool to see SlasheR and Huke as well as a duo get over the line, because they've tried to make things work for years. Never really worked out in the World War II days. Of course, they teamed with each other way back in the day as well in Advanced Warfare. When Huke was super young, they came like second at a pretty big tournament. Maybe it was the World Finals 2015 or something. They've tried to make it work again a couple of times since then, and finally they get over the line. Really cool stuff. And yeah, the leadership is irreplaceable, right? Lots of gas for SlasheR, and understandably so. Played great this tournament. I'm sure he's feeling absolutely fantastic, especially because of the Los Angeles Thieves rivalry. They drop him, they get bodied, he's winning events. Like, surely Thieves have to consider doing something just in light of this whole situation. I think they probably should make a move anyway, but just given the way this tournament played out, proves that something is deeply wrong within that organization. And I just wanted to look at this then, right? So this is their performances last year throughout, and also this year as well so far. Like, look at the placings. They go no better than top 6 at any particular event. All the changes, of course, SlasheR is there at the start with Temp, then Huke comes in and SlasheR's gone, then SlasheR's back in and Huke is gone, then like Huke's back in and SlasheR's still there. Like, it's absolute chaos, right? Huke, of course, gets dropped for the end of the year as well. They come top 8. SlasheR and Huke are now gone. They go over to Los Angeles Guerrillas, and this year's team really so far hasn't got all that much better, if at all. Of course, as I say, the other piece piece of the puzzle, right, is the kind of coaching, general management stuff. And I think, again, there will be some questions raised there because last year, like, that team could get no success at all out of SlasheR and Huke, it seems. Maybe they didn't give them enough time. But, you know, all of a sudden, right, this team comes through Los Angeles Guerrillas, SlasheR and Huke winning championships. So that's the thing. It's not just in terms of the fact that the team itself, top 6, top 8, that's not going to cut it, right, Los Angeles Thieves, for a team that wants to be winning championships. But on the other side of the coin, you've got to say, like, look, SlasheR and Huke, they were there. They had the chance to go a different route. Octane might be the guy underperforming and has to go, whereas you could have kept a guy like SlasheR. And maybe that duo with Kenny just doesn't work anymore, right? But that is kind of the question. It's not just about the players, but it's also the decisions that led to the point where SlasheR and Huke on Thieves last year are now winning events on Guerrillas. So we have to talk about this then. The season schedule looks like this for the rest of the year. We are now officially into the mid-season. Major 1, Major 2 was crazy. The entire month of March was ridiculous. But yes, the Major 2 is over. Now we have pretty much a month off Call of Duty action. The All-Star weekend was going to be in a week or so's time. That's going to be delayed, I believe, towards the end of the year. Then there's kind of the Warzone thing happening. And then the Prime Classic, they do say it is a LAN right here. So hopefully it is a LAN. May 5th through the 8th. That's going to be a crazy one. Pretty much a month until that goes down. And then straight after that, right back into Major 3 qualifiers. So this next month, hopefully, we get a lot of Rostermania stuff going on. That's what I've been hoping for, to be honest. I think a lot of these teams are in a position to try and have to make something happen. They've got quite a long time to figure it out. But it is probably about time some of these teams that make some sort of moves. This also from LionMan, just so we kind of close down the video. Thought some pretty crazy stat lines, to be honest. X, the kind of Optic killer he's been considered over so many years. Optic have more event wins than he does, but well, the LAN head-to-head goes in his favour, the COD Champs head-to-head goes significantly in his favour, and even Finals head-to-head as well. He has 3-2 over Optic as an organisation, and I promise the kind of last Will Smith meme will share on this channel, unless there's a particularly good one that comes through. But yeah, some frustrations about the spawns this past weekend. Keep the spawns system out of your game in future titles, please, ladies and gentlemen. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button and tell us YouTube gods this is a good video. I don't like you should see it as well. And I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.